Good morning, and thank you for joining the Winning with Wow radio broadcast and media broadcast of the Women's Business Center of Richmond. I am your host, Dr. Danni, and today we're going to spend some time thinking about some of the programming that's coming up with the Women's Business Center of Richmond, and just in general talking about taking your business assessment. We always know that it's important to have our annual checkup. And periodically during certain seasons, we might get a shot to make sure we get a booster and things like that. So today we're going to talk about doing that with your business, doing a checkup on your financials, but not just your financials. I think today I want to spend some time talking about the checkup that's necessary about your operational and organizational effectiveness. The Women's Business Center of Richmond is located on the campus of Virginia Union University. We provide technical assistance, coaching, counseling, access to capital to underserved groups that include women and minorities, but we'll serve anyone. Our center is a little more than 2 years old. We are partially funded by the Small Business Administration. You may have heard in the last week, a lot of activity going on around the Small Business Administration and some of the work that it is doing involving women's business centers. So last week, I had an opportunity to visit the White House. Kamala wasn't there, but Joe was there. And it was for the purpose of kicking off the Women's Business Summit that is hosted by the SBA. Administrator Guzman was there, and some phenomenal women that are in business that are really, I would say, models of how you can start a business from the ground up and grow it. So I'll share some of those details. But one of the key things that was announced that was fairly important was the expansion of the women's business centers throughout the United States. Currently, there's approximately 145 women's business centers around the U.S. Most of us, if not all of us, are engaged with or members of the Association for Women's Business Center. Shout out to CEO Corinne, who is a phenomenal leader. But through that, we have advocacy. We seek to connect to each other, share best lessons learned on how we can help to grow and not just survive, but to thrive, help our businesses that are our clients get to a point where they are actually thriving. And so we're excited about the expansion, which is more than 10% growth. So there's going to be 160 women's business centers. So that 15 center jump, most of that growth is probably going to involve minority serving institutions, either by relationship or that those would be some of the grantees. And again, I think the next day we heard our Vice President, Kamala Harris, announce, I think, $1 billion investment fund to support women's businesses globally. So a lot of things coming out on the policy side. And we are your partner to help access some of these things that are being talked about, and looking forward to you reaching out to us either at some of our events or just by reaching out to us at the center, again, located on the campus of Virginia Union University. Another thing that transpired last week that I wanted to share, in addition to going to the White House, which was really one of the things coming off of my bucket list, that I will tell you that it is an amazing thing to be in a place where we as a community was not thought to or meant to house as a leader or as a visitor, anything other than being a servant. And so being there for me was surreal. But the other thing that we had is that we, the Women's Business Center, had our annual celebration of Women's History Month that is embodied in our powerful women's breakfast. And it was powerful. This is a platform that we allow some of the women that are identified within our community to come and share their story, their entrepreneurial journey, the lessons learned, for the purpose of inspiring others to pick up and pursue their dream And so we recognize 5 women, five, the same number of letters that is in the word power. And the basis of the assessment and selecting those women were based on their stories of perseverance, their optimism, their work ethic, as well as their resiliency, as demonstrated by the fact that they're still here. And so these women included Coach Barvinia Wooten. You know her. She was a star athlete at Virginia Union University. I think they've retired her jersey or in some type of Hall of Fame. She was also the coach of the Virginia Union girls basketball team, but moreover, she is the CEO and founder of the Richmond Roadrunners. This is a group of semi-pro women basketball players. And some of you may know, I have a daughter who plays basketball, post-collegiate basketball on the semi-pro circuit. And the odd thing is that there are just not enough opportunities for women to continue their athletic career after they play collegiate ball. There's approximately 12 professional women's basketball teams in the United States. They have approximately 12 players per team. So that's 144 slots. And we put out thousands of stellar athletes every year from the NCAA, whether it's Division I, Division II, or etc. And so we're really excited that Richmond has its own semi-pro team, providing opportunities for women to play post-collegiate basketball without having to leave the country. So my daughter's not so lucky. She still plays out of the country a couple of times a year. But I will tell you, with what Coach Barvinia is doing, that I think that growth is going to multiply. And we will see more opportunities for women to earn a living doing what they love to do, and that is playing basketball. We also recognize Miss Stephanie Duncan. Stephanie Duncan is the co-founder of Floral Genius, located in Harrisburg, Virginia. They make sustainable flower arrangement tools. They're the only company doing this in the United States, and they export to several countries, which include Canada, Australia, countries in Europe. So again, we are, countries in Australia. I'm not exactly sure which ones, probably Sydney. But the point is, she's an awesome example of a rural business owner who has been able to leverage all of the resources afforded to her to be able to put that solution that she has throughout the globe. And you too could be an exporter. That's something that I think the Women's Business Center is going to focus on in the coming years, is trying to help our clients understand the benefits, whether you are a service provider or if you have products. There's an opportunity for you not just to be an importer to do retail, but to actually export your products to countries that need them. Another of the women that was recognized during our Powerful Women's Breakfast was Trisha Dunlap. And so I think that, of Dunlap Law, you really need to, as a small business owner or someone who is looking to start a small business, you really need to think about looking out to Dunlap Law. And I'm just an advocate because I love how they have leveraged innovation and creativity to define a revenue stream or business model that is conducive to small businesses having direct access to great legal advice before issues happen and ongoing. So I won't get all into those different products, but I would say that one of the challenges is that many small businesses or women-owned businesses seek legal advice as a last resort. You hear about the legal fees that are $300 and $400 an hour, and you say, I probably can't afford that. But they have some products that would allow you to have ongoing and continuous access to a lawyer to help you with your business. So I'm going to leave you with this comment that made me realize that this is a powerful woman that we need to highlight and put on the stage and shine a light on her. I was at another conference and she spoke and she said, sometimes people group all lawyers together. And but you need to think about the lawyer based on the type of lawyer you need. If you are a woman and you need to have your annual physical, you don't go to a pediatrician, you go to a gynecologist. So just like doctors are differentiated and they have expertise in different areas, attorneys do as well. So we don't want, a personal injury lawyer when we really need someone to help us with our trademark. So I'll just leave you with that and encourage you to reach out to Trisha Dunlap and the Dunlap Law Firm. Another lady that we recognize that is just phenomenal because she brings a perspective that we need to be thinking about. It actually ties in to our annual Women on Wealth Summit that we do in October of every year, because Miss Sanji Rollins Tucker is a wealth advisor. She owns her own firm, and her focus is on helping you think through your long-term plans. What is, if you're a business owner, what is your exit plan? Or what are the things that you do that's going to fuel the dreams and aspirations that you have, whether you're in corporate America or own your own business? Sanji focuses on helping you identify your goals and then the tools that help you get to those goals, be they financial instruments or just financial savings. And those things are critical. We as women, as small businesses, as minorities, need to think about the broader picture, not just what's in front of us, but we need to think holistically about wealth, of which revenue or income or all of that is a part of wealth. But wealth for us also include our womanliness, our entrepreneurship, our affiliations, our leadership, tenacity, and health. And so with that said, reach out to Sanji Rollins Tucker if you have some questions about financial advising and wealth creation. The last woman that I will mention that was recognized during our phenomenal week in which we recognize powerful women was Miss Tracy Andrews Bozeman. She makes it very clear she'll never leave the Andrews because that's the essence of what she grew out of. But Tracy owns a business called Home Helpers that provides services to people in their later stages of, their life. And it's done with such care and compassion. And when you talk to her about the services that her company offers, it comes across very clear that you can see and feel her heart and how important it is to provide unbelievable service and support to women, not just women, I'm sorry, to those who are on the back end, on the back nine, as I would say it as an avid golfer. I use that word avid very loosely. I do love golf, but I'm not that great. But anyway, I think it's real important to understand also from the perspective of me. I think she's a quintessential leader, meaning she has fellowship. And so some of us have titles and people follow us. Some of us have status and prestige and people want to follow us and want to know us. But when you are just genuinely and authentically who you are as a leader and your employees follow you, because they could do other things. We've heard all the stories of post-pandemic, abdication of, people coming back to work. But her employees truly respect how they are treated and respected, and they work for her, and they do the absolute best that they can do. The most important attribute of any leader, or the most important characteristic or skill that you can have, is hiring well. But the other one is that you need to be that kind of leader that people are willing to follow, not because you're the boss, not because you're the owner, but because you provide something that is fairly rare, and that is genuine and authentic leadership where people can grow and contribute, be compensated and respected for the value they bring. So those were our women that we recognize for Women's History Month during our Powerful Women's Breakfast. And if you missed it, don't miss it next year. Later that afternoon, we had an opportunity to be a host to some of our friends out of North Carolina from PSM Workforce. These PSM stands for Procurement and Supply Chain Management. This company that is headed by G. Sean Williams is, I would say, the biggest growth engine for small businesses that I have come across from. When I tell you that his company is able to work with the willing, to take what they have, do what they can, and actually do more by understanding the supply chain, understanding where the spin is within the corporate sector. We call that our collecting your corporate coins mixer that we had at the Common House. Shout out to Common House. And so it was one of those things where the people in the room knew that there was value that was being disseminated, that they could immediately take and implement in their businesses, that was going to change the trajectory of their revenue generation based on knowledge that was shared. And so that was like this part two to the webinar that we had done prior. And shout out to Miss Brittany Brown, who reached out and said, I can't make the mixer, but I want you to let G-Sean and Marcus Howard know that what I learned in that webinar has caused me to rethink and develop other elements of my business strategy that she believes is going to take her to the next level. And that's the kind of programming that the Women's Business Center of Richmond looks to bring to you. If you are a business owner and you are looking at what it is that you can do to accelerate your time to money, reach out to us. You can find us at www.thewbcrichmond.org. And so that is just an element of what we do. We do this, we have this radio show, this media broadcast that we do to reach out to folks, not only that, we're here at ESPN 106.1 FM on every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m., but we are here and because we need to connect to you. Oftentimes, one of the things that small businesses do is we don't ask for help until it's past when we really need it. The time to get to know what resources are available to you is before you run into a problem. Because when you run into a problem or you got a fire going on, almost nothing that you do is going to put that fire out as fast as you want to, and then it's going to leave damage. And so one of the areas that I just want to put a pin in right now is just when it comes to capitalizing your business. It's important for you to understand that when you seek to capitalize your business, you don't wait till you're running out of money and you've maybe ruined your credit, business and or personal. The time to get money is when you're in the best standing that you are. That's the cheapest that you're going to get a loan. When you are a customer who does not need the money, that's when you can get it the easiest, the fastest, and with the lowest interest. But also, you also want to manage your business very successfully in terms of your cash flow, understanding your balance sheet and your income statement. Those elements of what you're doing is really essential because now that helps you on your bankability side of the house, and it prepares you if you're going to apply for any grants. Things are out there, but just know it's easier to get grants when you have 2 or 3 years of business under your belt and your financials are favorable. And so it brings me to another activity that happened last week. It seems like everything that was going on was it was like suicide for me in terms of, can I keep going? Can I keep going? Or am I going to burn out? On Thursday, I had an opportunity to visit with the Chesterfield Chamber and their Women's Business Council. They had a luncheon where I had an opportunity to speak and talk about moving from surviving to thriving. And what does that really mean for us as business owners? One of the core messages that I'll repeat that I know you've heard before, but it's very true about women. It's very true about minorities. And I don't like that word minority, but for those of us who have been marginalized in this society, as we now seek to claim our rightful place in the business community by building economic wealth, by enlarging our footprint, by positively impacting our communities, one of the things that is so true is that we have done so much for so long with so little that we can do almost anything with nothing. And the truth of the matter is that doesn't have to be our story. But if you can do so much with so little, then surely once you get the right resources that align with your growth plan, that you would be able to do even more. And when we think about, again, women entrepreneurs, the truth of the matter is that when we have a healthy business and we're doing well, it's not just us and our household that are benefiting from that. It is the broader community. Women hire women. Women enrich their communities. They give back at a greater rate in terms of the percentage of what they bring in. So we are, it would appear, many of us, givers by nature. And so we want to see women businesses thrive because we know that that makes for a community that's thriving. And our communities, of course, make for cities that thrive. And when we have cities, guess what? Our country is all rising at that same tune. It's not an accident that the greatest number of new business starts are coming out of African American women. It's because a lot of times we have amassed a lot of skills, capabilities, and we are looking for a way to capitalize on those things. And oftentimes corporate America pays you too little, too late. That's just how it is. Some of it has to do with us. Sometimes we don't know our worth, which I love the phrase, a common phrase that you'll hear from some of the women who are in this space now. They'll say, know your worth. Well, knowing your worth means that you know that no one will ever be able to pay you your full worth, but you have at least got to command it or ask for it. And some of these women have decided that I want flexibility. I want to be able to call my own shots. And they have elected to launch their business idea. But when you do that, you want to be able to really capitalize on that. And I got an opportunity to share with a number of women's business owners at the Chesterfield Chamber event. Shout out to Danielle Fitzhugh, who is the CEO of the Chesterfield Chamber, and her team. I mean, these are some phenomenal individuals who curated some content with those people who were present in the room that I would say is priceless. I always enjoy an opportunity to share, but I want to go back to my White House visit and talk about a few of those women that I had an opportunity to meet. In the room was a young lady named Melissa. She started the Lip Bar. Melissa was a Wall Street trader. So, you know, a lot of times when we're making high six figures and we're in positions that people attribute a certain status to, it's hard for us to let go of that. But she decided to do that and start her own business. And she's out of Detroit, very successful. I want to say this is maybe her 11th year in business. And, you know, she talked about never looking back. She talked about recognizing that it's okay to do things differently. You know, there are other people who are out there, but, you know, she wanted to make sure that the products that she launched, that she put out there in the market, didn't have things in it that were counter to her belief on being healthy. So check her out, Lip Bar. Another lady that I just, you know, she just kind of blew my socks off a little bit, and that's Sandra, the lady who started who created the product called Spanx, and she is a self-made billionaire. Came from the ground up. It wasn't through inheritance. It wasn't through you know, acquiring a business. From the ground up over the last 22 years, and I'm sure, I don't know what year she hit that $1 billion, but she has a very, very successful business. She hires and employs a number of individuals who respect her values, one of which is that she decided that she was not going to try to do business like her male counterparts, that she was going to maintain her femininity in a way that she would still command respect, she would still be able to accomplish what she wanted to accomplish, but she did not have to step on her womanliness. So shout out to, Sarah Blakely. Shout out to you for the work that you do, but also the example and the model that you provide. And then there was another woman entrepreneur. I think she's been in business maybe 5 to 7 years. Her company is Dudamus. It's a power company, deals with energy. They are out of Detroit, Michigan. And I like it because she incorporated her faith into her business. She's an attorney. And so she's not an engineer by training, but she owns an engineering company that is powering electric vehicles, having contracts with some of the largest of the large, and she's just continuing to grow her business, to grow the technology. And as a lawyer, I'm sure she knows she's protecting her intellectual property. But those kind of individuals are really examples of what you can expect to find that's willing to share with you, pour into you, to mentor you in other ways, some of it directly and others indirectly. And so that brings me to the conference that the Women's Business Center of Richmond is going to be hosting on April the 28th at the Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens. That is going to be a day with fabulous content, interaction, networking opportunities. We're there to connect you to those you want to be connected to. But more importantly, we have Miss Reba Hollingsworth from CBS WTVR, who is going to be the MC for today. But, you know, we also know her to be a business owner. We know her to be an author. And so we want to celebrate her as well and give her a platform to share as she walks us through the events and activities of the Women's Business Center conference. It's called the Winning with Women and Minorities Entrepreneurs Conference. And last year was our inaugural year. It was phenomenal. We had phenomenal speakers, and this year we have no less. Closing down our conference this year will be Miss Shelley Omi Bell, founder and CEO of Black Girls Ventures. And one of the things that you have to think about when you start to go in this entrepreneurial journey, it's unfortunate but true. And I think I want to see when this data change, but less than 25% of women entrepreneurs ever seek funding outside of their own bank account. Sit with that. But when you're in business, it's okay to use other people's money. You're taking a risk, and there are people who are willing to bet on you. But when you do that, the best thing you can do when you're starting your business is not be in a situation where your cash flow is not where it needs to be. You're questioning whether you can make payroll, or that when you need to hire someone, you're not able to hire them. Unfortunately, out of the 12 million women-owned companies in America, probably 80% of them are solopreneurs. That means they're the only paid employee in their company. And so we want you to hire more people. Notwithstanding, there's over, I want to say over 9, close to 10 million employees that exist within that 6 to 10% that it do have employees, but we want to see that grow and increase from the 4 to the 6 to the 10 to the 100. You know, we might start out small, but that doesn't mean that's where we have to stay. And so I'm excited to have someone come and talk to us about seeking investment capital to grow your business with. You know, Black Girl Ventures has been around for a number of years. Omi is an author. She has a very strong podcast following. The wisdom and the nuggets that she's going to share in the context of the theme of the conference being leading the way, you don't want to miss that. We'll even hopefully have a show with her prior to the conference. But, you know, in addition to the speakers, in addition to the positions, there will be, you know, elected officials that will drop in and share with us about what's going on the policy front, the legislative front. But we also have a track that is a policy corner. And in that policy corner, though, we will have economic development specialists that will talk about things that are on the bubble, things you might need to know about or things you might not know about and know how to take advantage of it. So we'll have that in the policy corner. We will also have a learning lab. Some of you have talked about wanting to be certified, you know, whether it's SWAM certified or DBE certified. So we'll have our learning lab where you will be able to, if you have all of your documents available, learn how to do it and start taking action on securing those certifications at the same time as moving forward, leading the way in this business space. And then the last track that we're going to have is called the Growth Academy, or the Growth Academy. So in the Growth Academy, there's going to be thoughts around how to finance your growth, how to partner for growth. But the section that I really, really am excited about is the business owners that are going to talk about how they made their first $100,000. So shout out to Shara Gibson, your next executive director, who has been involved in curating the presenters and giving structure to this conference. We're really excited to be sharing with you And I have been excited to have this time with you this morning on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, the Winning with Wow radio broadcast, media broadcast for the Women's Business Center of Richmond. This has been my time as your host, Dr. Danni. Have a great day. Oh, you got it? How long you will be out this way today?